Hi, everybody. I'm Tanya with Side by Side Educational Consulting, and it's Quick Tip Tuesday. This month, we're focusing our tips and our resources on best practices for teaching bilingual and multilingual students. A key principle to keep in mind is that a student's first language is an asset, not a barrier in learning English. Students who are literate, for instance, in Spanish, can apply many of their existing reading skills to learning English. One powerful way to leverage this is by explicitly teaching cross-language transfer, where we highlight similarities in phonemes, graphemes, and morphemic or base elements between the two languages. When we think about Spanish and English, 30 to 40% of all words in English have a related word in Spanish. By drawing attention to these connections, we build on what students already know and create a bridge that strengthens their literacy in both languages. So our quick tip today is focusing in on this positive language transfer, thinking about those phonemes, those graphemes, and the morphemes. So I first want to talk about what are called cognates. Cognates are words that look and sound similar in two languages, and they mean the same thing. For example, animal in English and animal in Spanish are exactly the same. They're spelled the same, and they mean the same thing. Here's another example. Family is the word we use in English. That same word or similar word in Spanish is familia. They both originate from the Latin word familia. These are called positive cognates. They're like bridges between the languages and can be really powerful tools for our bilingual and multilingual learners. Okay, here's another tip. So we've got those positive cognates. Now watch out for what are called false cognates. We have to be careful. Some words look similar but have different meanings. So those are called false cognates. Here's an example. The word embarrassed in English sounds very similar and looks similar to the word embarazada in Spanish. But in Spanish, it means pregnant, not embarrassed. So teaching students to spot the difference between those builds language awareness and vocabulary accuracy. When we're thinking about cognates and thinking about those positive cognates, we can also use them to highlight sound spelling patterns. So for instance, if we look at our fan card, making this sound, this sound transfers between English and Spanish using this grapheme, the letter F. There are several of these that have that positive cross transfer between English and Spanish. There are some that are a negative transfer. So again, being aware of that is really, really helpful to explicitly point that out to students. Here's an example of a negative transfer. The letter V, as in vacuum, in English is pronounced V, but in Spanish, it's pronounced B, like ball. So if we were in a classroom situation or a real life situation where we have a student whose home language is Spanish and pronounces a word that starts with the letter V as B, we know why, and we can show them the difference between those two languages. This reinforces both decoding and cross-linguistic transfer. When we recognize and intentionally teach using students' linguistic strengths, we don't just teach English, we really empower our bilingual and multilingual learners. Cognates are a simple yet powerful way to do just that. Thanks so much for joining us for today's quick tip. I hope you'll tune in next Tuesday.